Please join me in prayer. Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock, our strength, and our Redeemer. Amen. Amen. So who here likes to read books? Favorite genre? Got some favorite genres?
Adventure, mystery.
Adventure, mystery, okay. Yeah. Comedy, yeah.
Biography.
Biography, yeah. Okay. Good, good. Me too. I like a lot of different genres. Lately it's been a little bit futuristic, sci-fi. I live with my nephew, a millennial, and he kind of gives me all my book recommendations these days. So that's kind of where it's gone. Now, do you prefer to read with an e-reader or a real book? Or maybe I should say an e-reader, a real book, or audio. I don't consider that reading, and I know people do. No, that's okay, Anyway, what do you like?
Physical book.
Physical book, yeah. That's me. I love being able to have thousands and thousands of titles in here. I mean, it's hard to beat that, to be honest. And when I fall asleep at night and this goes on my head, it's a little bit less than this. But I just love a book with just the pages and the smells. And yeah, I just love a real book. So I've told Tracy someday I would love to volunteer in a library. But I'm afraid they probably would end up firing me because I'd be pushing that big cart through the stacks, reshelving books, and I'd be like, well, that one's interesting, that one's interesting. It would take me all day to get through one cart, so I don't know if it would work too well. I remember the first time I visited our church library when I was probably about 14. And I was just amazed by all the books of various religious authors, and then I came across the Bibles. Now at that time I had a King James Bible, and I thought that's all there was. But here it was in this library. We had King James, Revised Standard, the Good News for Modern Men at the time, the Jerusalem Bible. I mean, all these were here. And they had this New Testament that I really liked. It had the Gospel printed on, the Gospel of Matthew and Mark on the left, and Luke and John on the right. So it's basically a parallel Bible. And I just thought, this is so cool. And they let me check it out, which I thought was even cooler. And I took that Bible home. And that's the Bible that I first carried with me up onto the shed that I read to the cattle. So now for a little background on me. I was born in Germany, and I was adopted by my American parents while they were stationed in Straubing, Germany. And I was there until I was 2, when my parents moved back to the United States. And we ended up in Oklahoma. And we lived in Tulsa till I was 12. And then we moved to my grandfather's ranch in Cushing, Oklahoma. Now, moving from the city to a 640-acre ranch as a soon-to-be teenager was quite a challenge, to say the least. But I loved animals, especially the cows, and so I would often climb on top of this shed just to watch them. Now the shed, it was about 100 yards behind the main barn, and it was basically a windbreak, to protect my dad's herd of cattle from the elements. So on this particular Sunday afternoon, it was warm and sunny, but not so hot that that corrugated tin, would burn my skin. The cattle, they had mostly finished grazing, and they're just lazily chewing their cud, and they just seemed slightly curious as I climbed on the top of this shed, sat down cross-legged, opened up this Bible, and began to read. Now, to be honest, public speaking was not my strong suit growing up. I had given speeches in 4-H club and had failed miserably. Instructors, they would try to give me helpful advice. Imagine the audience is naked. That did not help me at all. Imagining you all being naked does not make my anxiety go down, I'm sorry. But reading to the cows was totally different. They were just this perfect audience, chewing their cuds, just staring at me. You would have thought they were just hanging on every word. And so as the words that I read that day, hear these now. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil falsely against you on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Sitting on top of that shed and reading those words for the very first time, let me tell you, I got goosebumps. Here was Jesus throwing out blessing after blessing after blessing and telling me how great my reward would be in heaven. As a young person new to the Christian faith, it felt amazing. I wasn't sure what poor in spirit was, and at age 14, I did not know much about mourning, but I liked what I was feeling. John Wesley, the founder of the Methodists, he talked about feeling strangely warm when he had first read and heard the gospel being preached. I think I could relate. For many reasons, this text became one of my favorites. But as time went by, I became curious as to what this word blessing really meant. What did Jesus mean by that? We tend to throw that word around a lot, don't we? Hear someone sneeze, and the response is,
Bless you.
right. When we lived in Tennessee, bless his heart was either a term of endearment, he's such a nice man, bless his heart, or a way to appease your guilt after cussing someone out. That no good so-and-so, bless his heart. The Greek word that Matthew uses here is makairos. Now you can translate that, blessing, blessed, happy, fortunate, well off. And as far as meanings go, it could be special favor, unique standing, permission, empowerment. Then I thought maybe I'm going about it wrong. Maybe searching for the exact meaning was not the right question. When I was on that shed reading and hearing these words for the first time, it was the feeling that they gave me that was important. What does it feel like to be blessed? I think maybe that gets to the heart. To be blessed feels like you have someone's unconditional affection. To be blessed feels like you are not and will not be alone. Being blessed feels like you have the capacity to rise above your current circumstances. Being blessed feels like you have worth, not because of something you did in the past or might do in the future, but simply because of who you are this very minute, a child of God. Over the years, these beatitudes or blessings, they've been held up like a recipe for success or the key to happiness. Years ago, Robert Schuller called them the be happy attitudes. It's cute, but in a way, it seems like it misses the point, because if you're like me, there's times on this Christian journey when you're just not very happy. I mean, what I started to learn on that shed was that as Christians, Jesus is calling us into a new life, a life devoted to doing justice, loving kindness, and walking as humbly as we can with our God. We're called to make heaven here on earth, but it's not always easy. There will be times of great joy and times of despair, times of euphoria and times of disappointment, times when we are totally confused about the direction our life might be taking. And other times we'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt we're on the right path. So what these blessings tell us is that in all these moments, God is right there with us, claiming us as one of God's children. I think it's often easy to fall into the trap to think of someone who is blessed as being wealthy or powerful or famous or successful. But Jesus is teaching us to see how God calls blessed those who are down and out, or distressed by their circumstances, or maybe persecuted for doing the right thing. Blessed are the poor in spirit, those who live a life of servanthood, who have turned their attention to others, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, who are in despair, not just for the loss of their loved ones, but who see the brokenness in the world, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, those who put their lives under God's direction, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, those who work for justice and mercy and truth in our world, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, those not eager to condemn, who assume the best, who seek to understand, and who are quick to forgive, for they will receive mercy. And blessed are the pure in heart, those who see the beauty of what can be seen in this world, for they will see God. And blessed are the peacemakers, those who seek reconciliation between God and humankind, and between friends and neighbors, for they will be called children. And blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, or for the sake of justice, those who are willing to stand up for what's right, those who strive to bring God's reign to this world, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So like Charles Wesley, I felt strangely warm on the shed that day. And I think it was more than just the afternoon sun. I was beginning to realize how much I was loved by God. Not because I had done my chores, or not fought with my sister, or because I had obeyed the rules of that day, followed the right formula, or that I had even prayed a special prayer to God. No, I was loved by God just for being me. And maybe that is what true blessing is all about. Seeing ourselves and each other's as God's beloved children. Meeting each other at the point of our brokenness. And reminding each other that God is present in the good times and the hard times. And that we are worthy of a blessing because God has created us. Maybe it's as simple as that. So I would invite you to turn to someone next to you, or just even to say this to yourself. You are blessed, child of God. You are blessed, child of God. Thanks be to God. Join me in a prayer. God, thank you for your word that goes before us. Help us to be doers and not just hearers, and to always remember that above all else, we are your beloved children. Amen.